Welcome. This series of videos is going to be a behind the scenes look at how I am using AI to bootstrap my business. The purpose of the videos is really twofold. The first is that it gives me a way to, show real world problems being solved, to share techniques and tools, and kind of demonstrate that. And then the second part of it is that I want to give my future customers a potential way to get to know me and how I work. Okay, so let's dive in. The very first thing that you have to solve, of course, with a business is bring in customers. And so is what I was working on yesterday and the day, today, which is kind of the CRM in that ingest process, that ingest funnel. So I'm not planning on doing anything too weird here. I'll have a website, malcolmgreenley.dev, that will provide all the contact information. It'll also push people back over to the YouTube channel so that they have they can get to know me, as I said. Okay, and the one thing that is a little bit different, maybe, is that I'm not taking a mass marketing approach to this. I am going to be making contact with a very curated list of people. I'm going to be, depending on referrals, a lot of effort is going to be invested in every one of these contacts that I make, even before I've done it. And so the very first thing I realized when I started thinking about this yesterday is I absolutely for sure wanted to be able to track everything about the interactions with these contacts. When they're, hey, I'm going to need unique tracking tokens so that I can hand out URLs and QR codes and understand exactly which ones are being used to do what. Okay, so then the question becomes exactly how am I going to put this together? This is the part where I get to introduce Ikigemba. Ikigemba is a little experiment that I started about 2 months ago, and it effectively is just a set of Legos. It's a set of primitives that you can build business software with. Um, it might be easier just to show it here, I guess. So there are all kinds of pieces here. You can see that there are actual uh, you know, pieces of software here. So you have the CRM, which, is an important piece of software. But I also have connectors for GitHub and Gmail and Dropbox and Notify, right? So connectors are a big part of this. But there is kind of a core to the whole thing. There is you don't see it here, but there is an event bus that connects all of these things together. So pretty much every service is a producer onto the event bus. So whatever CRUD events happen, if I create a contact, that puts an event on the event bus. There are really only two consumers of the event bus. That is prompts and skills, prompts and scripts. Um, they are compute, right? And so they respond to an event. They are triggered to run a particular script or a particular prompt in response to an event showing up. And then you have things like sites, which is for serving HTML content. There is the webhooks, which helps bring events from the outside world back into the internal event plane. You have cron, which helps you schedule events. You have the wiki, which is a knowledge base. Telemetry is just a tool for the agents to be able to get, to use the correlation IDs as everything is moving through back in the telemetry. So an agent can inspect what has been going on. Notify does notifications. You get the idea. Okay, so the very first thing I did, I realized what I wanted to do. I need to track people in the front door, have these tracking tokens. I actually kind of obviously pretty much knew how to build it with this. But what I did was I asked Fable, hey, this is what we need to do. How should we go about it? And it did exactly what I was hoping because it has access to all these tools. It was able to look at them and say, well, I'll put all these pieces together and this will give you the solution. And so what it had done is, it said create the site for serving michaelgreenlee.dev. Um, that is tied to a token that is generated for the contact in the CRM. So the CRM owns the token. And then when you actually land on the site, that drives back to the webhook, which puts the event on the bus, which then triggers a script to run, which currently at the moment, the only thing it does is trigger notify to send me a notification. The notification includes, which prospect clicked, did what. Okay, so maybe a quick little demonstration of this. So list all the contact, list all our contact, maybe. So you're going to see that, this is essentially an empty CRM. It has a little bit of dummy data in it. And so if I say, create a tracking URL for Fred let's just do Fred. Create a tracking URL for Fred, accessing Michael Greenlee.dev using the Baz campaign. So every tracking token has, it's really just a label, but it's associated with some effort, some campaign. And what it just returned back to us is this value, right? So now if I were to, let's actually do this, I'll copy paste it. I will copy paste it as soon as I actually copy it. I'm not in Herder, so I am just going to shift and click and we'll open it over here. So landing on this page, of course, did that whole sequence of events. That tracking token fired, and I just heard my phone beep over there because the notification flew through. And so this whole process to put this together, because Ikigamba already exists, because the building blocks already exist, took a couple hours, mostly this morning. So that is the start of the website. This will need a little bit more work, and then a lot of effort will shift over into actually building that curated list and starting to drive people into the website. Okay, so that was one of the things that I've been working on in the last 2 days. The other thing that I have been working on is starting to package up Ikigamba so that other people could use it. It's still a long ways away. What I started on yesterday was the secrets management. As you can imagine, this thing is using a ton of different services. They all need API tokens. It's using us. I have it so that like prompts can connect to like 8 different. It can use OpenAI and Anthropic and Gemini, or Google, and it can use OpenRouter, right, for its inference. And so that's a ton of API tokens and stuff that it has to have access to. And so I started cleaning up the and making a plan for what Ikigamba will look like when it starts to be delivered and how secrets will be managed in it. And then the other thing that I was working on yesterday, and I will demonstrate here. So let's I have all of my tools, so like prompts in Ikigamba and everything that I use at the command line for development uses something, a package, a library that I created called Agent Kit. Agent Kit supports a number of providers. I have Agent REPL, which is a thin wrapper around Agent Kit. It's not something that I actually use. It's a means for me to test Agent Kit. But you can see Agent Kit has quite a lot of support. So Anthropic, Google, OpenAI, OpenRouter, XAI, and ZAI, where we can do it we support both, subscription authorization as well as API key authorization. The one standout here is I would absolutely love to be able to use subscription authorization for Anthropic, but they don't allow it. And the way that it works is I can, provide whatever whatever model we want, and that is what we're running, right? So you can see it's actually waiting on Quen, and it eventually gives us a response, right? So what I did yesterday was I added Quen, Nemotron, Opus, Opus 5. Seems like I added one more, but I don't remember which one. I basically did a model update to get all the tools in there. And I also did a little bit of work to make sure that the GitHub repos would be a little more friendly. Every one of them now comes with a nice warning that tells everybody that this is unsupported AI slop, basically telling them not to use it. This, I will reverse that statement eventually in the future, but right now I am not prepared to invest effort to support these things. So that has been the last day and a half or so. We got a good little start on Mucka Greenleaf Dev. The we can generate the tracking tokens. We can land on the site. Next things, of course, are I need to put together the actual site. I need to start building that curated list and the material that is going to go out to those potential customers. So those will be the things that we're probably talking about in future videos. See you there.